welcome to this month's PMI Malaysia chapter podcast, and I'm your host Shasha. Today with you, we are driving into the topic that is resonates across industries and project types. Why project fail? Okay, so this is actually the questions that always lingers around our mind, especially project managers. And despite best practice, certifications and methodologies, project failure always remain a common challenge. Okay, and basically today I'm joined by three seasoned project management professionals, all PMP certified, to unpack the root causes, share lesson learned, and explore how we can turn failures into future projects. Future success. And before we start with the questions, perhaps I want all of our three panelists today introduce themselves, and maybe I will start with Zaha to introduce yourself, Zaha. Yeah.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good evening, guys. My name is
Mm,
Zaharuddin bin Jaafar. I'm I
okay.
was the custodian of project management for Petronas project delivery team based in KLCC. So this year is my 30th year with the organization.
Mm,
So this is the only company that I'm working with, right? I started as electrical engineer and then become project engineer, eventually a project director, and here I am. So managing various projects, mostly oil and gas facilities, onshore facilities, upstream and downstream. So it covers also the experience covers when overseas in various countries, including Sudan, Iraq, and my last assignment, the recent one was in Pengerang down south on the mega project of integrated refinery and petrochemical plants.
mm.
Right? Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Zaha, for quite comprehensive. At least we know your background is actually oil and gas. And now I would like to turn to Adam. Okay, so Adam, can you please
Yep. Thanks,
tell us about
Shasha, for
yourself?
inviting me here again. It's always great to be in this podcast. So, hi everyone. My
Yeah.
name is Adam. I actually consider myself as a passionate transformation leader. In my current job right now, I'm holding a role of chief business officer. I'm driving a lot of business transformation that bridging technologies and peoples. And when you talk about technologies and people, there is a lot of gap in between and a lot of stories that I can share that could benefits, the listeners in a way that, there are things that I have faced. Uh, there are case studies, the real case studies that I'm actually willing to share this out so that you guys will be able to take this back and evaluate whether you guys can actually mitigate this on an earlier stage, right? So excited to be here. This is one of the topic that really close to my heart. So thanks, Sasha.
Thank you, Adam. So actually, we would like to also know from Ramji as well. So Ramji, can you start introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sasha, for the invite. So
Yeah.
I'm Ramjee Shivakumar. So I'm working in A Digital Plus as a IT delivery manager. So I'm a PMP
Mm-hmm.
certified, and I've been taking care of delivering the IT projects in insurance and investment domains, basically, which is spread across the APAC market. So where each market has a different kind of authority of approvals or the different requirements. So taking care of it.
Mm-hmm.
And with respect to project failure, I have with me is like basically three different genres I need to share my experience out. One is my professional one, and secondly is my personal experience. I've been ultra cyclist, so where I strongly believe that until we practice what we preach, we can't be a better person. So I basically practice the PMP concepts in my
Mm-hmm.
regular events as well, where I can show out my experience as a practical way. And the third one would be
Mm-hmm.
like where I live in a society, like what have been a greatest disastrous project and how it was recovered. So these would be a key points which I would be interested to share among the people. Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity
Wow,
once again.
amazing. Yeah, thank you, Ramji. So for everyone to know, Saha is also part of our board of directors in current terms, and Adam, he also from previous board, he also the same board that we were together since 2023. And Ramji right now is also a director at large for portfolio that Adam holds in previous years, which is IT and cybersecurity. So yeah, all these are actually our friends. And if you have any questions before I'm going to ask them the questions. So if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate. They are all our circle, our folks. Yeah, we don't have to be malu-malu or segan-segan nak tanya soalan. Just proceed and tanya soalan. Okay. So today we are going to talk about a real project talk. Yeah, this is actually a real talk because I already before we start this, we actually already mentioned that we want some meat. Okay, talking about project failures or any projects that the panelists have gone through, and definitely this is actually the time for us to deep dive into the real world stories behind projects. Okay, the wins, the challenges, the lessons. Okay, that makes us better project leaders. And they are the people who actually spends years in trenches of IT and operations, leading teams, in leading oil and gas industries and rescuing projects. And yes, seeing a few crash and burn along the way is something normal, all right? So you see, projects don't fail overnight, but they fall quietly. One missed conversations, one unclear objective, or one assumption at a time. And before you know it, a project that started with excitement and vision becomes a post-mortem discussion in the boardroom. Okay, so where we have to share our lesson learned and everything, right? Okay, so maybe we could start the discussion right now. Okay, from your experience, maybe I would want to start from Zaha. He's my first panelist. Okay, so from your experience, Zaha, what are the most common root causes of project failures? I go with the root causes first because most probably, okay, we just don't want to say that we are heroic, but definitely there is also the vulnerability part of us.
Yeah.
Being a project manager, in some occasion we are not ready into that. So that is actually something
Yeah.
that close to our heart. And what is the common root cause of this project failure? And are they usually technical, organizational, or people related? So basically, the purpose is actually to identify the patterns and categorize the failure types. Zaha, can you please explain to us
Yep.
on this?
All right. Based on my experience and having gone through the difficult projects and also rescuing projects, it is about, to me, the most common one is about the people. Because project is, you have project initiation for capital project, construction base, large capital, several millions, several hundred millions. You have the initiations, you concept select, you define the projects, then you decide for the final investment decision. Then the EPCC stage part of it took place. That would take another, I would say, 2-3 years for quite large complex projects. So it's always about the when your top management has aspiration to get things done within the time, because the business is looking into the timing for the commercialization. So the mandate for the projects sometimes came in most of the time. It's very at the very challenging short period of time. So the completion for the execution is very limited and compressed, right? So project management, project managers especially is very eager because we always have a can-do attitude, right? So we think can be done. Yes, we can do that. Although we know the schedule is very stretched, and even the target cost is also very stretched, meaning that there's not much room for variations or whatever. But we think we can do it. right? So everything will be, I would say, uncovered as you right after you get the things executed, and when you have better definition after that, you just realize that, oh, actually we need more of this longer schedule and more cost. That's where the troubles come in to be rescued, whatever things. But it is a, I would say, maybe different from IT industries, where you, if you develop a program or services, it can be, I would say, revised, right? Because what you build is something that can be amended or updated based on the program or technicality part of it. I might be wrong. Maybe it's good to hear from Adam and Ramji as well. I really want to learn from them how things been set, because capital project always like that. We have to decide at the very early stage, and then we have to manage up 2 or 3 years down the road, and how best we are at that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I understand, Zaha. What you mentioned, right? Oil and gas project normally takes a very, very long time, like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, right? So, of course, there is a little difference compared to IT projects, but in any way, the nature is still the same. So, most probably, Adam, would you want to also share your experience, and also, saying from, I understand we were actually from the same department in previous company, yeah, and we do SAP as well. So most probably you would want to add the root cause of the project failure, continuing from what Zaha actually inquiring about IT projects. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Shasha. I think thanks, Zaha, for bringing it up. People, maybe the one of the main root cause of the failure, right? So, just for information, I have about 20 over years in IT, running day in, day out IT projects, mainly on transformation projects, SAP, ERP related projects. From most of my experience, just to tell you the truth, the project failure doesn't start with technology. It starts with people and alignment. Okay, so I like the idea that people do not align at the beginning, right? So we have a rough start, and then we do not actually invest the right amount of time to actually align what are the expectation, what are the roadmaps for the whole projects. So from what I see, from what I can actually summarize, there are three root cause. Okay, that's from my opinion, from the past lesson learned that I collected. Number one is unclear ownerships. Okay, when decision right and vague, everyone assumes someone else will handle it. Do you guys ever face this? This is not my job, someone else, right? So no clear ownerships. Okay, you
Sounds
don't do,
familiar.
I don't do. It sounds familiar, right? Okay, so there's no ownerships there. And then secondly is the inadequate stakeholder alignment. Okay, when business and IT see success differently. Okay, so business sees success different. So what is the success measure? I need to run my operation. I need to produce my products. That's my success measure. But IT is different. IT will be focusing on, okay, I go live this, your application is workable, I'm done. So there's no sort of alignment over there. I think it's quite familiar, very, very common. And then last but not least is the overconfident in the planning. Okay, it's going back to Zaha's point earlier. Thinking that project plan is a reality rather than working on hypothesis. So sometimes people put in a lot of thinking inside the project plan, but they never thought of there will be something in. There is no buffer. There is no factor in terms of risk management, change management. So the only thing about, like, I wanted to configure something is from A to B, but they never think that A to B requires change process, right? So these are the things that they tend to overconfident at times. So I've seen many, many times, in my past experience, even in my current project, We all had the right processes because of business readiness. It was behind. Um, and actually, it doesn't jive, right? So based on my past experience, okay, from what I will do is to take a pause. Okay, before we even start anything, we take a pause. Okay, because learning how to take a pause is also makes you a mature project manager. Okay, that experience reminds me that successful project are not built with your gun chart. Yeah, so I know that you guys are all experts in gun chart, but a shared understanding of what we truly trying to achieve is what really matters. So from what I have learned personally, technology doesn't fail, alignment does. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Adam. I think alignment is actually the way I look at it is communication now, correct? It's basically like what you mentioned just now, business and IT definitely have to play a very important role in terms of communications, and whatever things that we are actually wanted to achieve is actually business first. Yeah. So stakeholders plays a very important role in here, and therefore we need to align first, and ensure that whatever the things that we deliver is actually must be on point. And I also would like to take what Zaha mentioned just now, right? Why the project tend to be failure while we actually going through whatever things that during the implementation perhaps, or during the planning. Okay, and then that is actually the thing that I always remember when I took the PMP, when I studied PMP, long time ago, version 5, progressive elaboration. This is the terms that I always use whenever we want to, we want to go through the during this time we will discover a lot of things, right, Zaha? That is actually something that you mentioned about this. Yeah. So perhaps Ramji want to add a little bit on why they are actually usually fail, okay, and what is the common root cause. I mean, from your experience itself, Ramji, could you please
Yep.
add into that? Yeah.
Yep. So I would like to echo Saha's and Adam's point, right, where people play a vital role. As we know, good project managers are people managers, basically, right? So where the more than technical skill, actually the soft skill gonna play a long journey for a good project manager to keep the project running success. And in my personal experience, I would see like there are key factors which people play a behind the scenes role, right? We might say a project is built by a team, right? And still the governance or the policies or the team who work again a people, right? So in the
Mm,
end of the day, it's all the mindset across the team should all be aligned with the proper goal. If there is any disalignment within the team, obviously there should be a gap, right? So why I'm doing this? So if there is a team which is delivering a particular project, each member should be aware of their value which they're trying to bring into the project. So until unless they are able to bring in their value, there will be no desire to deliver. So this is more related to a mindset concept, and at a high level, um, the roles and responsibilities what Adam pointed is a key factor. So that's where the RACA metrics gonna play, right? So I
mm,
am in a position of
yeah.
a team, and there should be an inventory list where each stakeholder is gonna be ranked upon their power of attorney, like what they're gonna play. So is there
Yeah.
a power they're gonna be approving it, or they just to be notified or consulted, right? So if there is a weak governance and at the leadership level, there's going to be a big failure at a risk, right?
Mm,
And also the chain inventory list, as we say, we have to be technically as well as feasible factors to decide that how we going to split our delivery methodology, and based on that you have to come up with a granular effect of task, right? So that you can call it as a stories, right, or epics. So in that
mm,
way the scope and change management is going to play a vital role. It's not like it's going to be a hard written set of changes, right? considering
Right.
current the stream of work which we are evolving with AI, we can't keep a static list of change. So we should be able to expand our delivery methodology to keep in any dynamic kind of workload which is going to be coming to the team. So
Mm.
that's where team and resources constraint is gonna be one of the key factor to be addressed to make sure the project is not going in a risky way. So yeah, that's I
Yeah.
wanted to add that, Sasha.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Ramji, you mentioned about there is nothing is carved by the stone, and basically we need to be able to expand our ways of doing things. Okay, by for more dynamic and be the
Agile.
be
Yep.
an agile way of doing things. Yeah, so okay, I would like to say thank you very much for those people. I think we have quite a number of people joining us today. Thank you very much from the clubhouse, and for you guys who's just joined us. So today, I just want to make sure that we are talking about why do project fail, and it is actually a process, the people or the leadership behind it, and more importantly, what can we as a project professionals do differently to change that story. Okay, so thank you very much for all the house members and as well as the peoples from other rooms who's joining us in our podcast today. So I'm going to go with the second questions. Well, basically, my second questions, we will talk about stakeholders. Yeah, most probably the stakeholders plays a very important role in our situation right now, especially when we continuing and doing our projects. Perhaps I would want to go and start with Adam first. Okay, this time, how do stakeholders engagement play a very important role, and also communication influence, like you mentioned just now, right? Business and IT success, actually, alignment in the communication is very, very crucial. And and without proper communication, and with this poor communication alone will derail a well planned project. So why I do ask these questions, basically we just want to ensure that we are exploring the human and the relational aspects of the project success. So maybe Adam, you would want to take up on that questions first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. I think communication is one of the critical measure in project success, right? So, um, in our personal personalities, we are divided into two, whether we are introvert or extrovert. But if you are choose to be a project manager, sometimes you have to be extrovert, right? So why I say like that is, communication is one of the most underestimated yet critical aspect of project success. Okay, you like it or not, you need to talk, you need to communicate, right? Regardless whether you're communicating it through verbal, whether it's through emails, through your Teams messages, Google messages, whatever. But especially from the change management perspective, okay, I have a story for you. So in my current project, we actually separated change managers and PMO aside. So there's a two part over here. By right, it's supposed to be under one umbrella. Okay, the reason being is we do not want to have a conflict of interest. All right. So we need the change management team to actually lead the change process because they know exactly what are the things that requires for the business to adapt to the new system. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is, there's a lot of gap because I'm going off to China tomorrow. Um, in terms of readiness, okay, in terms of whether they're actually able to adapt from the old system to the new system. Just imagine yourself driving a new car from an old car, okay, 30 years old car to a new EVs, right? So the experience may be different a little bit. So you need some time to adapt. The same goes to businesses where they adopted a new system because digital transformation requires them to do so. And these are the things that we really require a strong change manager on top of project manager. Sometimes project manager can be change manager, but most of the time, project manager would like to drive the project
Yeah.
itself. But this change manager were the person who actually responsible in terms of communication plans, when is the next town hall, when is the next bi-weekly meetings, stakeholder meetings, steering committees, a lot. Okay, when
Yeah.
is a UAT coming in, when is the workshops. So lesson learned is, project move at the speed of trust. Okay, it's not at the speed of your milestone. Okay, so that's my lesson learned, that
Wow, that's new to me.
I really learn in a hard way, because
Gosh.
if you want your project to really speed up, okay, you need to gain that sort of trust. If you're unable to get that sort of trust from your business, you cannot go, because it's the same thing like, you're pushing your accelerator and your brake at the same time. You're running on the escalation mode.
Mm.
Okay, so if you get the trust from the business, they know exactly where you are going. Okay, it's not about your milestone anymore. It's about the trust. So both business and IT really need to work together, right?
Mm.
So that's my
Yeah,
my
thank,
my, my personal thought.
yeah. I think that is actually a good one, Adam. Projects speed based on trust and not a milestone carved in your Gantt chart. I think that is something very excellent takeaway that we could take. Based on the opinions of how stakeholders management plays a very important role, and you have also mentioned about the difference, okay, the RASI between change management and also project management is very, very important if they could be able to be distinguished, because one person couldn't be able to think about everything at once, right? So yeah, I think that's something really really good that we could actually learn today. So I would like to go back to Zaha. Would you be able
Mhm.
to explain to us a bit about your experience in stakeholder management? We talk about it most of the time, especially during our risk management discussion, okay, from our previous podcast, Zaha, right? You were talking about stakeholders management, communication management that plays a very important role, and definitely poor communication alone definitely derail a well-planned project. Okay, from your perspective on oil and gas, I would like to
Yeah.
have you, Zaha.
Yeah. Yeah. We are basically building, I would say, an asset operating plant, oil and gas processing plant, right? So eventually it will be operated by the operation people.
Mhm.
You build a facility to run, to we have the feedstocks and the process plant. Then you got the product for commercialization. Business wants it fast so that we can commercialize the product. That's in general like that. But early stage of the project is very important, because once you design, you procure and you build. To have a
Mm,
changes, late changes is a disaster situation. That's why
definitely.
in the system, in our procedure, in our work process, there is a session called business and engineering alignment meeting. That's the session where the business representative, the project and engineering representative, and the operation
Mm,
asset representative need to sit down together and set the specifications and the features of the projects. Often the situations, those very important person will not be there. Will not there. They
okay,
send
yeah.
if you send the boy to do the man's job,
Mm,
then you see the different expectations, right?
mm,
Everything very nice, right, in the beginning. But once you start building, then they start seeing it. Oh, why don't you have this? We know this is very important like that. It's already done. So that's
yeah.
where we need to incorporate back again such expectations,
Mm,
because eventually those need to operate the plant will need to have a, I would say, more comfort level, and this is what the business wants, right? But often the situations, that expectation was not being made at a
mm,
great cleared in advance at the right time that we have already set. Yep.
yeah.
Stakeholder management is very important, because it's not only that's what I'm mentioning. It's about the it's about the internal stakeholders
Mm-hmm. Hello, Zaha. Actually, lost you a bit.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
The key stakeholders, right? Yeah. I lost the signal a bit, but now okay.
Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
My recent projects in Pengerang, we have
Mm-hmm.
at the time 60,000 people working at site. You just imagine 7.8 kilometers, constructions everywhere, uh, people from various nationalities, and we have the surrounding neighborhood of local residences, right? When the nights become so I would say so lighted up by our flares, right? And the sound of our flares quite high during the early stage on during our testing, right? So it's kind of different environment where you need to take care of your surroundings. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And within the workers themselves, I have workers from China, from Indonesia, from Vietnam, from Pakistan,
Mm-hmm.
right? So everyone has a different preference, right? Porata, chapati. This one only soups, bread. I want nasi lemak, and also
Yeah.
biryani, right? So different cultures, and we need to make everything harmony at the various level of the projects, including the shareholders. With that, during that time, we have
Mm.
from people from Petronas, majority from Malaysia, and also from our partners from Saudi Aramco, right?
Mm.
From the Middle East. So alignment is always there. It's very important. So then you can when you start meeting together, then you see different expectations and how they communicate. Asian people like us, very humble. Okay, and not really straightforward. You have your European members, partners, which is
Mm-hmm.
very straightforward, right? So you need to see how the respective parties within the contracts and shareholder level, how they react and how they
Mm-hmm.
express their intentions and their requirement.
Yeah. So it comes back
Yeah,
to the cultural value lah, betul tak,
yeah. Mm.
Zaha? Because yes, I remembered when we talk to certain people, maybe European people or Americans, they basically tend to straightforward. But if you talk with Japanese, for example, there's like, oh, okay, macam okay, it's like that, but we do not know what's in their hearts, right?
Yeah.
So this is kind of cultural value that we need to understand. And you also mentioned about the change management just now, right? Zaha.
Yeah.
Well, change, if we actually need to plan carefully, okay, I would like to add on that. Because in IT as well, we have in service management, we also have to manage the expedited change and also emergency change in terms of the maturity of the company, okay, the IT company, for example. We need to actually reduce the emergency change. But definitely, we couldn't be able to say, okay, we cannot have emergency change at all, but we have to see it, because if the situation requires many emergency change, in which that we need to actually have the RCA to put into that, right, Ramji?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Before Ramji asking replying
Okay.
that,
Go
no, you
ahead.
cannot
Yeah.
plan for a change, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, definitely you cannot plan, but change management, definitely, yeah, you can anticipate much earlier. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, because it couldn't be able to go with the emergency change of many times, so it doesn't. Okay, basically that is actually a IT point of view, Zaha. Okay, so that is basically that's what we say. Okay, we go to Ramji. If you could want to, if you would want to add a little bit on this stakeholder engagement. Yeah.
Yes, so I would like to take few points which Sakha mentioned. It's like we work in an environment where we are diversified, and also the point which Adam has mentioned, right? The trust. So both would be linked up with the transparency of how well we are able to communicate with the team, right? So that's be open-minded. That's going to build the trust, confidence, and the belief from business as well as from the internally from the team. So as a project manager, we should be transparent to share the pros and cons or where we are at a risk to the entire team and the business. So it's better to fail at the early than at the last. So that should be one of the mindset where we have to be following. And one such scenario I like to highlight is in our current one of my experience where the senior management I've seen like a CSAT score, that is the customer satisfaction went below the percentage of expectation of a project. So it was almost nearing to a risk of failure, right? So then we went into the entire communication channel, and what we identified a gap is that if you see a traditional project, it is different from agile. I mean, waterfall and agile, right? In agile, you have a regular scrum, and also you have a stakeholder management or a stakeholder involvement in the regular calls. But whereas in the waterfall, what was being practiced is basically like you involve the users only during the UAT phase. So that's where more questions is going to come, new inventions or identification from the users is going to come. By the time they hit the UAT, the timeline is very tight. So we wanted to bring a best practice. So what we introduce is continuous feedback loop. So that means at each stage of our delivery, we are trying to bring in the stakeholders, and we are trying to give them a transparent report what we are able to achieve. And this is the test cases what we have done. So the positives, what we have able to see is that during the UAT phase, the business users are able to use our SIT test cases, and that literally reduce their work pressure and their time as well. So this also build a good rapport between the business users and the IT team.
Okay. So continuous feedback and as well as
Loops.
continuous improvements can be done accordingly, okay, to avoid any risk of failures.
Last
Thank
minute
you,
risk. Yep.
Ramjee. Yeah, very good. Okay, I would like to the next one panelists. We actually would want to go to deep dive into our use cases. Yeah, so basically, I would like to talk about the stories segment. Okay, before I go into that. About Sydney Opera House. I think you guys know about this because we were talking also about it yesterday. And I think this is something that really most talked about project failures in modern history. The Sydney Opera House, when the project was first approved in 1957, the vision was actually grand, okay? An architectural masterpiece that would symbolize Australia to the world. An estimated budgets, I think about roughly 7 million. The estimated completion times is basically 4 years. But here's what really happened. The project took about 14 years to complete and cost over 100 million and more than 14 times the original budget. So the lead architect during that time eventually resigned halfway through the project due to political pressure and design conflict. So what went wrong? Okay, the root cause were classic project management pitfalls like poor scope definition, the one that we talked about just now, stakeholders misalignments, and the third one is unrealistic scheduling and budgeting. So despite the chaos, here's the irony. Today, the Sydney Opera House is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most recognized buildings in the world and a symbol of creative and resilience. So what's that takeaway? Okay, so even failed projects can succeed in the long run if the visions is strong enough. Okay, but as project managers, our role is to make sure we bridge the vision with realistic planning, stakeholder alignment, and disciplined execution. So back to the questions. Now we will deep dive into your personal use cases, right? So maybe I would like to start with Ramjee first. Can you share, Ramjee, a real life examples of a project that failed under your watch or observations, and what were the key lessons learned? Okay, so the purpose of these questions is actually to bring the authenticity and the practical insights of the project of these use cases. Ramjee.
I would like to pick a couple of scenarios from basically based on my work experience. So one such scenario
Mm-hmm.
where it was been a failure case, like it was like we did had multiple. Not the development phase and the UAT phase have been not involved by a particular team. I mean, like different vendors played a different role in a particular project. So that's where there was a misalignment between each vendors. The PM did not do a better job basically to make sure the alignment is proper. So what happened was each team's success is going to lead to the next team's start of their task, right? So it's an interdependent task. So when there was a delay from a particular vendor, so the project was in a phase whether we need to move to the next phase or we're going to drop out that particular enhancement as part of the delivery and move with the rest. So that was a critical call which was supposed to be taken, and we did move forward as a based on the lesson learned, right? If at all we waited for the traditional approach that let all be completed, then we would be ending up with a failure. So that means even though you plan it up in the beginning, and during the course of your project, obviously there will be a dynamic challenges. It might be internal or external, and based on that, we should take a critical call to move forward. So that's one critical part. And the next scenario which I wanted to highlight is basically the ownership. So we did delivered a particular code to our UAT. Unfortunately, there are multiple vendors involved, but none of them are able to take the ownership. So it is a built by all the teams. So it was not properly aligned that who's going to take care of as a UAT sign off provider. So that's also more with the RACA metrics, right? So that's one at the work experience level. And I would like to take one more example from the society where like I've been from India. So there was a project in 2013 for the government for IRCTC. So they call it as the Indian Railways System. So during that year, they wanted to automate the ticketing system from a manual to online mode. So it did opened up very well, but during the course of the project run phase, right? So I mean the BAU run, so it did fail because the critical testing of the load users, concurrent users usage. So those are all being failed. So this is a reason where we have to focus on your testing. So testing going to play a vital role because the amount of testing you're going to do should be focused as a futuristic, right? So I expect 100 users to be used. I can't focus for testing only 100 concurrent users, right? I should have a buffer of focusing 500 users. So that you have a focus for future and your system is able to adapt it rather than it just for a immediate delivery mode, right? So these are few key aspects which I wanted to highlight.
Okay, thank you, Ramji. I think what Ramji mentioned is about vendor and also ownership issue. Also, it has to be definite in RASI, right? Thank you, Ramji, for your update. So most probably, I would like to go to Adam, maybe to speak about your real life example of a project that failed in your watch and observation. Adam.
Okay, so this is very interesting one, yeah, because this is the current situation I am facing right now. So because it's fresh from the box,
Okay.
so
Okay.
it is an SAP implementations. All right, so people are moving from one of these company is actually Taiwanese company who are, they wanted to establish operations in Malaysia. Yeah, so we have discussed, my company and that company has discussed a long way, what is the best solution. So I think they were decided finally that, okay, you know what, let's go for SAP Greenfield. Okay, so for those who do not know, SAP term greenfield means it's a fresh vanilla. Okay, so no customization. So
Okay.
my client is a bit unique. So they have lived with 25 years with the old system, fully customized,
Okay.
and they kept quiet in terms of like during our pre-sales activities. They do not actually highlighted that they wanted the customization to be moved entirely, And then when the deal was signed, the SOW was cleared, we kick off the project, right? So we kick off with a greenfield so-called idea, and then the things comes, right? So the business starts saying that, you know what, I think I want all my customization to be included. Can that be possible? Okay, that's where your problem starts, right? So you need to do your blueprints, you need to do your technical assessment. Is that still feasible? So this is actually a second month. We're going to conclude the blueprints anyways, right? But I wouldn't say that this is a failure. Okay, I would say that, you know, that's a gap in terms of communication again, right? So it doesn't because people doesn't know what is greenfield versus brownfield is, right? So some say it's a blue field, it's a hybrid. You know, some carry forward, some do not want to carry forward. But to to be honest, you know, based on my 20 years of experience, it's a brownfield. Okay, brownfield is a different ball game. Okay, and again, what is interesting about this project is it has a lot of values in terms of the market itself. Because when you bringing in this technology to the business, they will be able to run their business, their productions, and job opportunity. The value of the things that you are doing is actually much greater than the things that you have received. Okay, so but it is something that I would say we need to address that. So my strategy is to communicate, to take a pause. So I always my take is I always take a pause. Okay, I always tell the C-suite, you know what, let's take a pause, right? So I'm a project practitioner, but I'm also an entrepreneur. So I need to balance that off. I cannot make money and I deliver the project at the same time. So it's conflicting. Okay, and lesson learned. If everybody wanted to hear, okay, scope creep. Okay, scope creep doesn't destroy the project. Okay, scope creep doesn't destroy the project, but that silent does. Okay, so that's my take. But again, you know, I'm working on turning over the project situation at the moment. Hopefully, I would be able to tell you more success story, you know, in the near future, because you know, I'm chartering a strategies for us to move forward better, to mitigate the operation risk, you know, financial operation productions, because we need to meet the deadline next year, right? So again, we don't have the change management in place, so there's a lot of risk in place. So this is a real case study, guys. So it's $1 million project that I'm currently, you know, working 16 more than 16 hours a day. Right? I'm not ashamed to say that, you know, we fail in the beginning because we do not actually probe further. But as what I say, you know, scope creep doesn't really destroy the project. But if you keep silent, that's where, you know, it like a cancer. It can kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Adam, you make a point, because I do have that kind of situation. I've faced that kind of situation before, in which that the client are very comfortable with their customized environment that they created by themselves. They actually, you know, put everything into the applications. They actually want this, and they actually do not use anything on the shelf. They basically customize everything, and at the end of the day, when they wanted to change the system, and basically nobody cares. I mean, they expect that whenever the new system comes, it will be as normally as it could be, you know. So they don't really discuss during pre-engagement, you know, previously during pre-sales time. They don't really mention that, okay, I would want to have this have to be maintained, you know, all these requirements, it doesn't really clear at that time. And once it actually comes into the real things, the project kickstart, and now they actually can see the true picture. Oh, basically I couldn't live without this, this particular application, this particular way of workflows. They still want to maintain that. So this is, we cannot afford to just blindsided by this. We have to be very, very careful, especially in the end users environment. I would not say that end users, but basically they need to have one person who's particularly having this ownership, looking into this very thoroughly, so that there would not having any additional cost at the end of the day, right, Adam? Because they actually wanted
Yep.
to do change. At the end of the day, they wanted to put this and that, and definitely pause is required because we have to rethink all over again in order for us to make sure we can deliver to the customers accordingly. Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
yeah. With
Yep.
that,
Anyways,
yeah,
change manager. I mean, project manager being project manager, right? We are
yeah.
typical. Some project manager very typical. You give me this scope, I deliver you as is, right? But sometimes,
Yeah, yeah,
we
true.
need to think outside the box, guys. You know what? You
Understand.
guys are experienced project manager. Sometimes you need to put the hat of a change manager. Think
Yeah,
about
yeah.
how does that gonna impact the business as a whole. That
Mm,
really bring
mhm.
more value to you and the
Correct.
people, your stakeholders as a whole.
Correct. And then
Just
and
my
then
two cents.
Adam, yeah, and Adam, and I also would like to go to Zaha after this because I've
Mm.
been working also with the government and also GLC, and I'm currently also in so-called I would say it's not private limited, it's a Berhad company. Mean to say is a so-called is a public listed company. So you know okay, we as a project manager, we couldn't be able, whenever the kickstart of the projects, we really need to have some really deep thoughts about the projects that we are taking, because as a project manager, I've met quite a number of project managers. They just say yes, 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 yes. Yes, we can do it, yes, we can do it, but in the the truth is, technically, perhaps we can do it, but there are other factors. uh, it could hinder us from delivering that particular projects. Okay, so maybe Zaha, would you share your experience about your use cases, a real life example of a project? I know most probably maybe it's going to a failed project. So what kind of experience that you have to share with us, Zaha?
Uh, Sorry, Shah. I
Yeah.
think I lost you within 1 minute ago.
Oh, okay.
So is it about the a real life example, right? On the
Yes,
field
yes,
project.
use cases.
Somehow I
Yes.
got hang for a while. All right,
Okay.
all right.
Okay.
Uh, I at the center, I oversee several projects, and there's a few examples, but I pick up one.
Mm-hmm.
This is related to the early commitment, or I would say everyone eager to deliver the project. The cost is
Okay.
around, I would say, quarter billion ringgit, right?
Wow.
And everyone committed to it, the contractors. Um, but I would say, the projects, typical projects, you will see the delay for capital construction projects, capital intensive construction project. You will see the delay when they started the construction. You will not see much of it during the engineering stage of it, because the procurement has not really started or about to start towards the end of the engineering. And then when you have delay in engineering, it has a start affecting the procurement, and then the procurement delay, it affect the construction, right? So most of time you'll see the early construction will start giving the gaps in the S curve. Then you start wondering why in the world everything starts shifting to the right, correct? So, and we have, I would say, a systemic issue that I observe is a kind of watermelon syndrome, right?
Yeah.
It still can be
Mm-hmm.
managed. You report it, everything's okay. Although the delay is like this, it's still manageable. Until a time it cannot be bare anymore. So the we see some why is it kept on reporting quite a good progress, but in actual fact the site progress construction progress doesn't jive to the reported percentage.
Mm.
So we have to do some like situational assessment, doability, and then uncover. Oh, actually we have like 6 or 8 months delay, blah blah blah. Right. So it's really frustrating.
Right.
And I would say then we have to do, I would say, a team has to be deployed to rescue.
Mm-hmm.
Additional resources need to be done. The non-performing contractor has to be displaced,
Wow. Hard decision.
and yeah, it was a very hard decision. But the one that is a very I would say uh, interesting, or it's a very, I would say, a a commended situation where the asset owner were to the business together with the project team working closer and more integrated together in managing or mitigating such situations. So they see the
Mm.
value of them participating more uh, to the progress. This is what Adam said earlier, right? So if you have the buy-in by the business, no matter how bad the project is, you will see things will go really smooth.
Yeah.
It is a bitter situation, but at the end, after the rescue has been done, the project was successful, completed, based on the revised schedules and costs. Of course, it was a like a bitter situation that we have undergone. So this is the real life, and have a few a sample of projects like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it become, I hope it will not be a trend. We learn a lot. We do a lot of RCA, root cause analysis, on the similar failure project, and it came to the similar conclusions that early commitment of unrealistic targets as aspired by the management that
Mm.
that killed the projects early, that make the project need to be rescued, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
So that's the
Just go
sharing that
ahead.
I have. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Uh,
Yeah.
I think you make a point, Azaha, because that's why I mentioned just now. We as a project manager, we just couldn't be able to take it, whatever the situation said to us. Yeah, we want this to be completed by this time. If it's realistically cannot be done, we have to say straight away. Even though we understand that the progressive elaboration is actually, still there, we are okay, we agile, we can actually do something about it. But at the end of the day, I think as a project manager, we also must voice out. Okay, we cannot always be a yes man. Okay, this is what I also would like to educate the project managers in our current
That's the
environment right
toughest
now.
thing. I think that the toughest thing
Yeah,
emotionally, or
yeah,
you need to be. You see, the
correct,
project managers, we have our KPI, need to be
definitely.
seen as a
Yeah.
can do and resilient, you know. But these are the situations that really, I would say, unfortunate that has happened
Yeah,
that I've seen, observed, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time, project managers also, have to play a bad cop. Like what you mentioned just now, you need to make a very tough and difficult decision. Based on the assessments at hand, with your vendors, with the partners that you have, because handling conflict management is another arts of its own. Yeah. So basically, this is also something that, I mean, for me, I always need to refer. I couldn't be able to make strict decision like that. I mean, this is my personal lah, because I think
Yes.
I'm not so good at being a bad cop. Okay. All right. Maybe okay, guys. I just also would like to mention to all the audience here. We might be, we know that we already one more minutes to 10, but I think we have quite a number of questions, and I'm so eager to ask these questions. I hope that you can actually stay with us, and we will continuously discuss about this, because I'm telling you, this is actually a meat of our discussion today. So this is already expected, yeah. Yes, panelists all. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go to the number 4 questions. In your opinion, Adam, I straight away go to Adam. How much does organizational culture and leadership style contribute to project failure or success? Because we heard what Zaha mentioned just now, like, he was talking with quite a number of people from different part of the world, and you as well, Adam, you have to go to China, you have to go to Taiwan and so on, doing your multinational projects. So maybe you are the right person to talk about this at this moment in time, about organizational culture and leadership style. Adam.
I think one word that describe leadership and culture is they are actually like a weather to the project. Yeah. Okay. So why I say like that is because you can't see them, but they're affecting everything. Okay.
Mm,
You
makes
gotta,
sense.
it makes sense, right? So
Yeah.
they are like a weather. Sometimes, I think I changed my mind. I need this timeline to be shortened because we're wasting a lot of money. So it's like a weather. Sometimes the storm comes in without no reason. So you can't see them, but they affect everything in your project. So I work in a several, I have 20 years of experience, in project management. I work with multiple organization, multiple industries in the past. They are good leaders who encourage transparency, okay, and empowerment. I love the word empowerment because they do come
Yeah.
from the word trust, right? So you trust a person, you empower the person, that person will deliver at 110% for you, okay. But in contrast, there are organization which is otherwise, which is very rigid, very hierarchical culture. People fear escalations. If I admit to my mistake, I'm gone. I'll be fired the next day. So for small issues
Yeah.
or for coming late, you also will get punished. So it
Driving by
doesn't make
fear.
sense. Yeah. So leadership style defines project climate, right? Because whether you are a good leader or not, it's actually foster your responsibility as a leader is to actually foster collaborations. You might not be the subject matter expert in that area, but what you're really good at
Mm-hmm.
is to make people collaborate, okay, and make sure that these people work together as a team, okay. So as what Jack Ma used to say, you know smart people will make smart people work together, right? So we need to we need to cultivate that sort of culture because
Collaboration
um
and everything.
yeah, in terms of leadership, a lesson learned from my real life experience, okay, whether it's break or make. So leadership isn't control, okay, it more towards like creating space of ownership. So that's my take, okay. So if you guys are in a leadership role, project manager, change manager, okay, people's manager, you are creating space for ownership. You need to unlock that potential of your people so that they can actually be at their best, whether in your operations, projects, whatsoever. But you need to enable that. Okay, you need to let loose. You cannot be like micromanaging.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so that's my take. Okay, because it's my real life example, so I know whether it is a good leader or otherwise. From some people, from the first three words of the leader, this person is good or not.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay,
Again, you're
all right.
mentioning about people management, Adam, right?
Mm.
Okay, leadership culture. So basically, true leader have to make sure that people can collaborate because we are working as a team in order for us to deliver the project. Yeah. Based on that, uh, Zaha, maybe you would want to add a little bit on your opinion about culture and leadership style. Yeah. Whether your project is
Mhm.
success or failure is actually depends on these two. Yeah. Discuss about it.
Yep. Yeah. I think the success of the projects very much depend on the team development. So that
Mm.
team will need to be led by a very credible leader, which is the project manager, right? You cannot just have a very, I would say, arm's length relationship with your project team. Even
Mm.
with your business attached sponsor that fund you, right? Because you need to manage their expectations, and also you need to manage those who's delivering the projects for you. Because project manager is like jack of all trades, right? You need to rely on the specialists and your functional managers that deliver manage on the down the lower levels part of it. This is what our role. It's about managing the risk of the project, right?
Mm.
Anticipating what can go wrong and how you can manage it through your resources, right? Yeah,
Good one,
and then
Zaha.
you have to really balance it, because if you take it's so risk averse, then you have so much provision and you're afraid to do things and you become so defensive,
Mm.
right?
Wow. Defensive, huh?
Yeah. When you feel so defensive, you say, oh, cannot
Mm.
this, then you put more provisions here or contingency
Mm.
here, and the cost of the project will go high when you do the estimations. And you will not be economic. So the balance part,
Mm.
you need to have that balancing. So I need to learn more from Adam because he's an entrepreneur. What the business
Mm.
look at it, there are
Yeah.
minimum, I would say, the maximum things you can
We lost you a bit, Zaha. Hello, Zaha. We lost you.
I think we'll just lost
I
Zaha.
would say
Okay,
project,
go ahead.
I would say gaps.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I lost a few minutes here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you just say that last sentence? We missed that. Zaha?
Oh, we lose Zaha again.
Yeah, we lose Zaha again. Okay. I think maybe we go back to we continue with Ramjee on the on your opinion about the organizational culture. But anyway, what we heard from Zaha is basically to find balancing and being and ensure that the team development is there. Okay, so that is actually the most important part as being a project manager. So maybe,
Yep.
yeah.
So from my end, yeah,
Okay.
I would like to appreciate Adam for that comparison, right? Creative one for weather to
Mhm.
the organization culture leadership. Yes, like the weather is going to be dynamic. We never know when it's going to come, right? So it's the
Yeah.
people who are on the grounds, how we going to react and adapt. So that's going to play a vital role. How well the organization culture is going to change, right? So it also depends like how the culture is going to cultivate, like whether it's going to be a blame game or it's going to kind of a learning culture. So obviously people tend to make mistakes, right? So there should be a room where you can explore and you can fail early. And also, how do you consider a failure, right? So failures are not negative always, right? So you have to see in a positive side, these can be considered as a feedback, so where you can raise up and learn and just evolve along the progress of the project. So that's where the leadership style, where empowering leaders, right, or enabling ownership across each and every part of the team members. It's not like one person holding the engine, right? It's all the parts in your vehicle plays a vital role. That's how the team has to play.
Yeah. Thank you, Ramji. I think when you say that, we start early and then we fail early so that we can actually derive the feedback and learn from it in order for us to continuously improve. Thank you, Ramji, for that takeaway. Then I would like to go for the next questions. What role does risk management play in preventing project failure? And do you think it's often underestimated or poorly executed? This is actually to highlight the proactive and versus reactive approaches. I think we talk about this a lot with Zaha previously, right? In our topic of risk management. Maybe Zaha, you would want to start with the preamble first before I go to Adam and as well Ramji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Typically, when we do projects, you need to right from the beginning during the initiation, you
Mm.
have to think what can go wrong with the projects, right? Not to do it so academically. Most project team took it. Oh, okay, I take the risk from previous project, then get it copied and pasted again, and then say, okay, this is the risk of us. uh, it is actually
Yeah.
a wrong, I would say, wrong approach because they need to really thought deeper what can go wrong with the project so that they
Mm.
can plan for the most, I would say, feasible mitigations and who need to act on it within what period of time, a timeline. So either the sponsor, the stakeholders, the contractor need to be accountable or responsible to close those risks as how they define it, right? So based on that, provision need to be done, to be formulated for the project to get the final investment decision, right? So this is where the strong risk, I would say, risk appetite need to be weighed with the business or asset. They really want to take the risk, and to me, we can take the greater risk if we can manage it well. Do not
Mm.
simply take the risk of getting, oh, what can go wrong is simply can be managed if you don't, we don't really put good thought about it, right?
Mm.
So I think the culture of risk management need to be, I would say, really practiced so that it can be
Mhm.
really appreciated by the business especially, right?
For
So
yeah.
they will not
Mhm.
put, cannot simply put a requirement or
Yeah.
challenges that unnecessarily to be
Mm.
upheld by the project team. It's really
Yeah.
painful when we say that, oh, we think that we can be done, but realistically it cannot. But during
Mm.
the middle of the execution, you found it, okay, we cannot do much about it, and it is a failed situation that need to be remedied. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
that's my feedback.
thank you, Zaha. I think what you mentioned is that it has to be right by design, right? In which that risk management should be as part of our DNA already, because that should be done in the very first place. Uh, Especially during the project inception, we need to think about the project risk as well. Yeah, I think Adam, I think from your experience, you always based on your experience, definitely you want to add on that. Go ahead, Adam.
Yep, I think risk management and project management cannot be separated. You guys know that very well, right? So,
Yeah.
regardless what you guys do in life, whether it's project for work or project for personal, there will definitely a risk. But on top of the risk, on the flip side, there's opportunities, right? So I'm not going to talk about the
Mm.
opportunities because there's more towards the entrepreneur side. So risk management will actually tells you that how fast or how far your project will go. Because in my project management practice for the last 20 years, for you to go fast in your project, you need to know your boundaries. And that boundaries is your risk. Okay. So let's say you are implementing this sort of project. What are the risks in terms of the businesses? What does that impact to your business? So if you are not going live in this date, the trucks is out there waiting. Where should I send my things to? How do you address that? Right. So that is a risk. But throughout the project, definitely, as a project manager, you know what are the things that you need to mitigate, how you mitigate it, how you adapt it, how you accept that risk. So, long story short, in terms of risk management, it's actually a live data. Okay, so we cannot take risk management is something that something that they talk about. Oh, they are risks. Yes, they are risks.
Mm.
But what do you want to do with that risk? You have your risk log, your red log, whatever you call it, right? So you risk action in issue and decision. But what do you do with that thing? How do you actually
Mm.
derive at the end of the day? How you drive that eventually in your project really counts. Okay. So in my last, in my current project, in my past project, in my current project, risk management fails. Okay. Hear me out. Yeah. Risk management fails when it become a documentation instead of
Mm.
discipline. Okay. So if you are just documenting your risk and not addressing those risks, and it's become an issue in your project, eventually become a problem and situation, who is the problem actually, right? So take this as my 2 cents over here. Project failures is part of project success. Okay, it's not in PMI or it's not in PMP, whatever. But if you don't fail, you don't learn. If you don't actually start creating those risk log and understanding what that contribute to your project, you
Mm.
will never go far. And you will spending a lot of time addressing escalations, which is not productive. Okay? If it sounds familiar to you, you need to know that you need to do things differently. Your style as a project manager need to change. All right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's my take. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Adam. So I would like to go to put some example on the Denver airport's baggage system. Okay, when technology runs ahead of reality. So this is basically also a legendary project failure. The Denver International Airport's automated baggage handling system. Back in early 1990s, Denver was building a brand new state-of-the-art airport. The city wanted it to be the most advanced airport in the world. But what happened? It becomes a technology nightmare. Okay, technological nightmare in which the project was supposed to take 2 years and cost 193 million. Instead, it took 6 years, 6 extra years, and ended up costing 560 millions. So, what is this all about? Okay, because of the risk was not being taken care, like because of over ambitious scope, lack of stakeholder alignments, and rushed implementation. Okay, so these are all the things that is very normal. Why the project fails. Okay, I would like to also go back to Ramji. Maybe Ramji, a little bit, if you would want to share about the project risk that
Yep.
you have
Just a
experienced.
quick
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a quick one. So, as we
Yeah.
understand, often risk
Mm-hmm.
management is undervalued, right? Like many teams treat it as a paperwork. As Adam said, it need not to be
Mm-hmm.
stopping as a paperwork consideration, right? It's going to be actual process, and we have to practice it from our heart, right? So, I would like to add a example. It's not more at a work level, but in a personal level. So, where
Yeah.
as Ultra Endurance Cyclist, I can take a quick example of my one of my long cycling ride is 1,200 kilometer cycling. So it's a crazy one in my life. So where
Wow.
I took risk management up to my heart and mind, right? So where I'm
Mm.
going to go at roads and there are a lot of risk to face, and how I gonna mitigate
Right.
it, how I gonna be prepared, right? So for each one I can't just go and mere write a solution, right, as a risk mitigation plan. It need not be just in papers. I have to be cultivating a mindset to how to tackle it. So risk registry is going to play a role because that's going to be a gatekeeper for us to give us an idea like what we are expected to be at a negative side, right? So when I sat down and chatting down like what are the risks, it really played a vital role for me to get prepared for the worst. So that's how if I wanted to bring that mindset to my work, so it's same as when you're going to deliver a project. Risk assessment has to be playing a vital role where it's going to help us to be making sure that what's going to happen, how we going to be prepared to it. So if nothing is been there, then we left out with no solutions to recover.
Mm. Oh, very good metaphor that you mentioned that, Ramji. I think that's really, really great. So I think we are left about, maybe I just would like to go with the hard stop at 10:30, but I think this is quite a topic that we discussed. Okay, so I think one last question. Okay, if you could give one piece of advice to project managers to avoid failures, you are, I mean, the panelists today that I've actually asked to come and discuss about project failure are basically a seasoned project manager. Okay, I would say me too. I also do quite a number of projects. I think I think we need to give something that for the audience to take away. Okay, so the advice to project managers to avoid failures. Definitely, failures will come, like what Zaha mentioned, Adam mentions, for many times, and as well as Ramji set up his experience on to avoid project failure. But what would it be, and why? Okay, so this particular advice is very important. So why I ask these questions is actually to end with actionable wisdom and inspiration to the people outside there who's basically a project manager or an inspired being a project manager. Maybe I start with Zaha on this question. Yeah,
Yep.
go ahead, Zaha.
I would say speak up and communicate more. I think
Mm,
that's the simple thing that's very difficult for us to practice. And really I would say make it like a culture, because we're always afraid of expressing the thing, because
mm,
we are afraid of being seen of not up to the expectation, right?
mm,
And but actually when I speak up more and communicate more, things will be very clear and understood better, because we always assume that everyone will understand the situation, but in actual fact they are also requiring us as the project manager to provide as clear or clearest directions and sharing as much on the insights and direction of the project. That's for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Zaha. How about you, Adam? Hello, hello, Adam. I couldn't be able to hear Adam. Adam? Yeah, you just lost few minutes.
Yeah, I was like wondering. I was like go in the dark earlier, so apologies for that.
Okay,
Can you guys
no
hear me
worries.
now? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, we
loud
can.
and clear.
Okay. So I was like jokingly was like thinking how do I actually advise my fellow PMs in this podcast today to avoid failures. So the best thing
Yeah.
is not to become project manager lah, right? So you cannot
Mm-hmm.
you avoid failures. Don't become project managers. But if you're seriously looking into this as a career, as something that you wanted to build over the years, refer back to my earlier advice. So build those alignment before you accelerate. Okay, because it's too often that a lot of project managers jump straight into executions, just in the idea to save time. Okay, without clarity on the goals, ownership, your success metrics, alignment with your business. I just want to step on the pedal and go. Okay, this is one of the typical mistakes that is done by project managers, right? So they just want to get things done fast because my steering committee say, what, I need to deliver this in the next 4 months, which is entirely impossible if you look into the whole thing, as a holistic point of view. Okay, now next is, I also learned that spending time upfront to align save months of confusion. Okay, you can disagree with me, but this is sort of like your investment. Okay, if you don't invest time enough to understand what are the scopes, what are the expectation, what are the success measure, you will end up, going into the wrong directions. Your passenger, your business I'm not looking into this destination, right? And you're driving us the wrong directions. So as a driver, because I always believe project manager is a bus driver. Okay, if you're not driving it right to the right direction, people will start complaining, people will start escalating. Okay, you can take that as a metaphor. Okay, next is take time to ensure everybody understand the why before focusing on the how. Okay, that keeps the project grounded and resilient when things goes wrong. So you understand the why are we doing this, not how we are doing this. Okay, so that's where you can actually anchor your project. Okay, understand why we are doing this. We are doing this transformation for a reason. We are doing this for an ROI, for example, for investment capital return at the end of the day. So if thing goes wrong, so we can go back to the foundations and remain grounded. Okay, on what is the objective of the project. So last but not least, okay, go slow to go fast. Okay, go slow to go fast. Clarity today prevents chaos tomorrow. Okay, so hopefully these are the things that I can share with you guys. Go slow to go fast as a project manager. Get things cleared today so that you can actually avoid those chaos tomorrow. Thanks, Shasha.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you. Wow, well said, Adam. Okay. Last but not least, Ramjee, some kind of advice or
So
conclusion from your
from
side,
my
please.
end, the final note to our audience is that a project
Mhm.
is not truly a failure, right? So basically,
Yeah.
if it can provide lessons which we can learn for the next success, right? So each project is of different kind of its requirements. So if it able to provide a feedback and from there we can learn and bring up the next project to success, then it's not a
Mhm.
real failure, right? So it's all the lesson learned from mindset. So that's where every challenge is a rehearsal for the resilience. So that would be the mindset what we as a PM we have to have and move forward rather than just sitting out for the failure. So that's
Yeah.
experience I would like to share with the audience. Yeah.
Guys, thank you very much for all of you. Three great project managers that we have today. And, from the senior prayer house to Denver Airport to the real case studies that presented by the panelists today, the lesson is clear. Projects don't fail because of people are not smart or capable, because they fail because of the misalignment, poor communication, unrealistic expectations, and that's what I wanted to unpack today. Okay, I think I've already done that, and hope it's really, really clear to all of you. And as a project professional, you can actually spot those warning signs before if it's too late. Okay, so today is the time for you to have your open mind in order for you to manage your project properly, and definitely uh, be resilient about the projects that you are doing, because it meant to be failed, it meant to have risk, and it meant to build the lesson learned from that. And at the end of the day, projects don't fail because of people are not capable. As I mentioned, they fail because we lose alignment, clarity, and communication along the way. So this is a very, very important takeaway that I hope that you can benefit out of this. Okay, so yeah, with that, we close off
Sasha,
our
if you
today's
don't
talk. Yeah.
mind,
Yeah,
sorry,
go
Sasha, if
ahead.
you don't mind, maybe I just one more
Oh,
notes. Yeah.
okay, go
So
ahead, Adam.
we all understand that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's actually part
Yeah,
of it.
part of
Okay.
it.
So
Yes.
for you to actually practice failures and learn, you can always know that there is a safe space for you to fail. All right. So join the volunteers. I'm promoting
Mm.
this because I've done this before. There are a lot of things that you can try and error, and it's a safe space for you to fail. It's okay to make mistakes, right? Sometimes you are in
Yeah.
an environment which is very fast paced and you cannot actually even fail, right? So join volunteers to actually practice. So that's my take. Thank you.
Yeah, good one, Adam. Because right
Thank you.
now we are actually
Good.
calling for all the volunteers. So yeah, I think that's about it, guys. So let's keep learning, keep improving, and turn away the challenge into progress. So thanks for tuning in into our podcast today. This is a real talk, and where real stories build better leaders. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you
Thank you.
again next time. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.